What's up, guys? I'm Josh Moates. I'm your host. Today, Ryan Muirhead is on vacation, so it's just going to be me. But we have a very special guest, Thomas Lucas, who has been with Indy since 2014. He is the processor, so he processes all you guys' film along with Hannah. And he's just been here a long time, a good buddy of ours, mine, and we hang out. So we're going to get him on here and talk about film, photography, why he's into it. What's up, man?
Hey, what's
And
up?
yeah, so there's some. I know a lot about you. We hang out all the time. You work here. You've been here for going on 8 years. But there's a lot. I still don't know. I don't even know how you got into photography. So like, let's talk about. Let's just start from the very beginning. Like, how did you even get into photography?
Well, it started as a wee little boy, Joshua. No, it's my grandfather. Um, he was a photographer primarily like in World War II and just a hobbyist as well, and entered in a bunch of photo competitions back in the day. Won some prizes, and so it was always kind of a part of just growing up around them. Um, my dad was also a photographer, mostly of sunsets. Uh, too major, but he did that. So it's always been a part. Um, and then when Jackie, a sister-in-law, became a part of the family, she's a photographer as well, and was like, huh, maybe I could do photography too. Because my brother also started getting into it a little bit more as well. Um, and then in 2009, uh, I was working for AmeriCorps, and we were stationed in New Orleans. And I just wanted to document my entire trip throughout the Southeast and whatnot. And it was during the Mardi Gras season and the Saints winning the Super Bowl that year. And so New Orleans was just crazy. And one day after one of the parades, I see this photo shoot happening, and I've got this little HP uh, digital camera that was probably like $300 at the time. And this girl was in a tutu with a bunny rabbit mask walking down like this trash street.
You just
And I was
lost
like,
it.
oh, yeah. I was like, oh, man, that looks really cool. So I just took like a picture and just went about my day. And at that time, Instagram wasn't around. Facebook wasn't too friendly on sharing photos. So Flickr was where I shared
What
most
year
of my
was
stuff.
this? What year was this?
2009.
Nine. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because Facebook had only been out since 2005. So, um, and so Flickr is where I posted everything. Um, Used Picasa to edit all my photos.
Oh, you're bringing back so many like
Dude,
crazy memories
it's
right now.
terrible. And I was like, oh, I
Picasa.
was, yeah,
Wow.
it's
I haven't
great.
heard that
Yeah.
in forever.
Um, and it was something that I was really just doing it for myself, just so that I could have a memory of my travels throughout and the people that I was working with, and to just kind of show those who can't travel what I was doing. Um, and then one of the images was picked up in Germany from New Orleans. They wanted to publish it on a book as the book cover. And they had contacted me via Flickr, but I didn't see it until like a year later because I'd stopped using Flickr and I was going back to being a mechanic. So I didn't have much time for photography, and messaged them back, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we still want to use your photo." And they told me which one, and it was the girl with the tutu and bunny rabbit mask. And I was like, "Cool!" And it's all sepia toned and everything from Picasa.
Nice.
The aspect ratio is like not even real. Like it's looks like a pano, but it's not. It's a false pano. Um, and they ran it, and then I got a copy of the book, and I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this photography gig.
You
So
got published with a point and shoot HP $300 camera. That's amazing.
yeah,
That's
uh,
that's awesome.
it's like cool, and it's sepia tone, so it's
Oh, you
it's
know it's
marvelous.
good. You know it's good. It's got to be good if it's sepia.
I mean, there's still people using sepia, but that not here to judge them. So yeah, when I moved back home and was going back to being a mechanic, I spent some money and got just an entry level camera. I was asking Jackie all kinds of questions on, well, what do I need to look for, this and that. And one brand, it was a D350. I mean, it was nothing. And and I just started photographing in architecture. And because it can talk back to you if you messed up angle, you can't make a building look like that and you get upset. Um, and all during that time I was learned composition and how to see without really knowing that's what I was doing. And a few years passed after that. John and I had met up, and he's like, "Hey, I got this photo shoot idea." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like, let's do it." And it was based off of the song Roxanne. And oh my gosh, I thought it was like going to be the most marvelous artistic thing I'd ever done in my career. We're going to have 5 models in lingerie with like a French red light and everything. Just, oh, it was so good. And it was all boudoir. And I was like, yeah, we're going to do this. And I was like, this is going to be great. Like, I've never really photographed people before in this sense. So let's do it. Get done. It was like August. And there was no AC in that studio. And went back home. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I stayed up till like 4 o'clock just editing all the photos because I was just so pumped about it. And posted one on Facebook of each girl. And woke up the next morning. My mom's across the hallway and she's just shaking her head. And she's like, this is terrible. This is the worst I've ever seen. You can do better. And I was like, whatever, Mom, it's art. And I just slammed the door on her face and whatever, and just went back to my room and played video games. Then after a few hours, we talked about it. It's like, your documentary work, what's missing about it is that these are just girls in lingerie. There's nothing to it. You just got 5 pretty girls to get half naked and pose for you. Whereas like
but
my
you had a Nikon
work, there was more
D350,
D whatever, yeah, whatever it is.
Like, so it's good. If it's it's good.
Yeah, it's that crop frame. It's legit with that 3.5 lens on it. So we had talked about it, and she said, there's more. If you could find a way to put the eye that you have for documentary, like telling a story through those images, and apply it to this, then you've probably got something. And then I never picked it up again. Instead, I started photographing ballet, and with one of the professional companies here in Montgomery, and that was fun. So I got to kind of experiment with them, but I wasn't too serious about photographing people yet. I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
So when she said that, how did that make you feel? Did that kind of make you say, "Oh, I shouldn't be doing that," or like, how did that affect you?
Yeah, I mean, it really hit me hard because I was like, I thought it was like some of the best work I'd done, because all I had been doing at the time was just photographing flowers and street signs. And I was like, well, this is something completely different than what I'm used to, versus like standing on a street corner and photographing people for street photography. And I took that as a blow, and I was just like, well, I'm just not going to pick it up again, and just kind of sat with that. And I went to school for sociology with the concentration in human sexuality to become a marriage counselor or a sex therapist or a school counselor. So I already was kind of in that background of mentality of how do I take a photo that actually says something, that evokes an emotion rather than provoking it. And I just need to figure out, how do I do that with this? And I just didn't. I left it alone until I started working here. And that's when it all just kind of changed, was when I started shooting film, is when everything changed.
Because that was 2014, right? When you started, 2014, 13?
14, yeah. It was January 2nd. Yeah.
Because you shot film before here, right? Didn't you shoot film before you?
I did. So before I worked, it was the year before I worked here. I had shot maybe 2 rolls of film. Um, and it was just my grandfather had given me uh, his camera that he used as a gift because I was the only one who shot Nikon, and it's a Nikon camera. And because Nikon f mounts haven't changed, I can use whatever lens with it. So I already had all these digital lenses that was going to work for my film camera. Um, and he also had lenses that came with it as well that were in pristine condition. So I was like, okay, well, I'll let it sit there and I'll figure it out. But it was still sort of, what is film and how does this work? Because the only other time I've ever shot film was when I was in France 16 years ago. And my dad was like, here's some Kodak Gold and an auto point and shoot camera. Use it.
Yeah.
Just set your ISO to 400 and let the camera do the work. I was like, okay, cool. Um, and so even then, like, it just was still rocket science to me. Like, what is this 400 speed? Like, what do you mean pushing and pulling and whatnot? Um, and but yeah, and it wasn't until I worked here that, and I shot the RZ because you're like, here, try this. And I literally went out with a black and white roll, took a picture of the bench outside, the tree, the old Indy logo, the like location address, but like the way that the camera felt in my hands and just the sound that it made. And it's like, oh, this is the shit. Like this camera, this is a moneymaker. And I like it. And then that was it.
Yeah, you
Like I
still
was
shoot the
sold
RZ
on
like
film.
all the time.
Oh yeah, it's if I'm worried about getting something, if I have no inspiration, if I just pick up the RZ and just start shooting, it all just like there's something about it.
So
It's
your mom kind of dissed you on your first photo shoot, which, hey, congrats on just doing a first photo shoot. I mean, so
yeah,
quick in the game. Like, so many people get a camera and it takes them a while to get started. I remember when I first got my camera, I went right to start shooting. So I mean, I feel you on that. I can relate to you on that. Like, let's just start shooting and see how it goes. So you took a blow there,
yeah,
but then you got back on your feet and started down the road of. So how did you get from like back into, because we're gonna look at some of your work here in a minute, into what you do? Like how did you go from just working here into the stuff we're about to see? How did you make that step? Just working here and just being around film all the time and seeing other images, or because I mean, when you're in this
yeah.
lab, I mean,
That's
working here at
definitely
this
part
lab,
of
you
it.
see so much stuff. I mean, not saying that's what happened, but I'm curious.
I mean that is sort of like for me when it always came to photography or really anything in general. If I see somebody doing something, it's like I think I could do that better. And that was my mentality for so long of, especially when it came to photography. Like I know I can do what they did better. And then eventually it turned to I know I can do what they did, but in my own way, with my eyes, with the way I approach photography. And so it became less about being better at what that person was doing. It was more of about how can I use my headspace to create something like this. And so working here has definitely been a huge benefactor in seeing other people's work. And I knew I just wanted to create, and regardless of what it was. And photography has always been a hobby first and a business second. And I just have to create because I can't really draw, can't really do much of anything else, can't really paint very well. I'll leave those up to the other people that are better at it. But when it comes to photography, like that's where I knew I wanted to excel. Um, and when there was a client of ours, Kate Ward, um, out in California in San Diego, she had approached me and we were talking because I saw one of her shoots that she did out in the desert. And it was just gorgeous. I just saw the negatives like, oh, like I want to do that. Like I want to go do a desert shoot. Like that would be so awesome. And we started talking over the summertime, really got close to each other via Instagram. And then we started FaceTiming. She let me borrow one of her cameras to test out because I was thinking about buying it or buying one similar. And then I was like, oh, well, how's about I come out there for like Halloween? So she's like, oh, that'd be so cool. So that I went out there and we had a few planned styled shoots out in the Salton Sea. and out in thermal California. And then she's like, I want to do a boudoir session. And I've tried doing self portraits, but they just don't turn out great. I'm like, okay. But I had more confidence in my film game then than I had before. And so I think it was the day that I was leaving. We did like a quick little boudoir session. And then it's like, after seeing how the light was hitting her red hair and how the shadows were being cast, I knew right then and there, like, oh, this is it. This is how I photograph this. Now I get what my mother was saying 6 years ago. Like, I got to know someone. Now I'm going to tell their story through these images that are going to help them with whatever they may be going through. And so that's what it became. It's like I figured out how to tell a story and really learn from that experience.
That's awesome. And let's get into some of these images. We'll start with some of your documentary work because that's kind of how you started. So let's talk about this image here, which is super amazing, by the way, and the story behind it and everything. Oh, you're muted. Can y'all hear him? He's muted.
Can you hear me now?
I got you.
Sorry. Okay, we're good?
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
good.
All right, great. Is the image up?
Yep. Can you
Yeah.
see it? Yeah, everyone can see
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I mean, I can see it. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So this image, this was in 2015 on February 9th. So I'd only been here for about a year. And a big monumental thing was happening in the state of Alabama. And it was the first legal gay marriage in the entire state was happening in Montgomery.
That's awesome.
And I remember that day, so came in, it's like, go do this. And you're just like, okay, what's happening? And I told you, like, it's like a big thing because like they finally passed a bill where gays can finally get married, this and that. And so everybody's going to be at the courthouse and whatnot. And so went down there. It was probably, I guess, 9 o'clock, I suppose, and just took 2 rolls of film. And it was amazing. It was a crazy crowd. And, it's one of those things, like, I knew I needed to document it, even though I know that my photos aren't going to be published anywhere. Like, it's one of those kind of keepsakes that it's a monument of my generation that this is something that happened, and that 90 years from now, if I have grandkids, they're going to find these negatives or whatever. And if I'm still around to tell the story, this is what our issue was back then. Because then when I'm a grandfather, there may be a whole new issue that we're dealing with. And they're like, y'all had a problem with gays getting married? Like, so I just knew, like, I had to do this.
Yeah, this is history.
And
This is definitely part of history, and that's why printing is so important. It's like, let's print it, hang it up, tell the story on the back or under it, and talk about it and share it and pass it down, man. Because that's a huge moment for our state, our country, the rights, just basic rights. It's amazing that you got to live that, So that's very, very cool. Yeah, I remember that day you went down there. It was a long ago, but it just seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was just 6 years ago.
So how did you go from that to this?
Um,
But so, I mean, well, you said you said the story, but like, so how, like, after that shoot with Kate in the desert, you came home and said, I got to do this. So you just started shooting friends and close friends and people you knew, or?
Yeah, pretty much. So Anna, like, early on, she had asked if I could do one for her. And at the time I'm telling a little more of her story, but I mean, that's everybody's kind of thing. And it's, at the time she was married and she wanted to do a session, for his birthday, and he was opposed to it. And then eventually they got divorced. And she came back to me, and we had stayed in contact. We'd done a few other little shoots here and there, and just kind of hung out. And I learned more and more about her story. And then she's like, "Hey, well, let's let's do that boudoir session. I was like, okay, cool. So she came over to my apartment, and I don't really remember much of the day. Um, I think it was a cold day, um, and we just kind of shot. And it was like, okay, cool. Like I had this fresh idea of, let me tell your story through these images, and let me give them to you as a gift for your triumph over X, Y, and Z. And she's like, okay, cool. Um, and it was this image that um, we were sitting there lying down in bed, and she just looked at me like this. And it was a moment where I didn't exist in her world at all. She was completely, she saw right through me. She was just there in bed. That was it. And I knew that that was the goal for me to achieve, is for you, even though it's just a one-on-one kind of a thing, for you to completely forget I'm there and to be wholly you. And so that's, and it's just been one of my sort of landmark images that I've tried to recreate, but I can't recreate the images that I do with somebody, because it's their story. It's the way they look at me, or the way they look at the camera, or, the way they sit, the way the lighting is that day. It can't be recreated. It can come close, but there's just like a lack of emotion in that moment where she's staring me down and piercing straight through me. Yeah,
Right, that's a killer shot. What did you shoot this with?
So that was with the Nikon F3, with the 35 1.2 on Tri-X.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when you printed this for that show we did. It just looked so good, huge. The one where it was like really big for your background.
Yeah, and the Illuminati and all that.
Yeah, it was killer. Yeah, and I don't know. This is just, I love how light everything is, and I love it. Um, let's go to this one. So
Okay.
so the Nikon, that's your gig, right? That's your deal, Nikon and RZ.
For 35,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, that, and I mean, I have the cameras I can show as well
yeah,
if we need a visual representation of all of
yeah.
them.
Show the Nikon.
Okay. This is the Nikon F3. Cool.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of beat up.
You've
I
you've
also
had
use
that a
it.
long time. I remember that. I remember you've always had
Yeah.
that.
So, yeah. I don't use it as much, just because it takes batteries. That's why I like the FM2. It doesn't use batteries. So, and it can go up to 4,000th of a second. Um, that's that is the camera I take everywhere now. Um, then the RZ,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. You've seen this,
I've
right?
seen it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Um, and then the Mamiya C330, with an 82.8. It's nice, but I don't use it as much.
How much is that camera that you just, the C330?
I got it for
Okay,
$225.
so now it's 450. Probably.
Probably, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the Mamiya 645 with
Right.
an 82.8.
Nice.
I don't use it as much either anymore because I miss focus too much. That 82.8 is just so slight. You could be a hair off and the whole image is out of focus. When I went to, so, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it when we get to my editorial stuff, but like London Fashion Week, I took that camera and missed focus of so many
You
things.
just
And
gave
I'm
me
just like,
anxiety when you said that. Like taking that camera to something like that would make me just,
it's the risk.
oh
It's the
man.
risk.
And the reward
You
is
know,
maybe not as high as it should be.
it was not. It was not.
All right, let's go on to this image right here.
All right. Okay, so this was at the Long Live Film Workshop, uh, and it's Shannon Tomasic, and so she was one of the models that during that weekend for my boudoir classes, and it was the last night that we were there, and her and Anna and I just went back to the hotel, and I was like, oh, let's try something, and it was sort of a progression shoot of her getting to know me while I was teaching boudoir, and then after we did some more little shoots in between that whole weekend. So like watching her comfortability with being in front of the camera throughout the day and being with me and Anna was pretty amazing. And so I was like, I want to try because Kodak had a bunch of free film, so I didn't feel too worried to mess up anything. So I took some Portra 160 and shot it at 800, and this is the result of that experimentation of what does 160 look at
Did you
800.
push it or no?
Yeah, I pushed it
Okay.
three
Oh,
stops.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, because that might not have came out if it was be metered at
yeah.
160.
Oh,
I got you. You pushed
yeah,
it. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
It's still
But
fairly
every
low contrast. I mean, I know it's you got the
yeah,
wax pulled up, but yeah, that's pretty amazing for
yeah,
pushing that far. Kodak film is just incredible all the way
it
around.
is. And everything that I meter, like, there's no real secret to it. It's all spot metered for the highlights. That's it. Like, it's the easy because I know some people, when I did La Film workshop in Texas like 4 or 5 years ago, when I was teaching boudoir out there. And one of the things is how do you get the contrast, like these deep shadows, without it just looking like garbage? And I think it's just a lack of understanding of what it means to push and pull film and how to meter for it, like what to actually meter for to get this. And it's the funny thing about film is it's easier than people think it is. There's a lot of overthinking in film, which is what I did for sure.
Yeah, I think we all do that. We all start and say, I
Yeah,
don't want to ruin this. I don't want to mess this up. And then you learn how to meter
yeah,
properly. And then
yeah,
it isn't hard.
yeah,
I've mismetered and it's fine. You know,
yeah.
just Kodak film just has that special magic in there. What about this one? Same.
Mm-hmm.
This looks. I'm gonna let you talk about this one. Tell me what you did here.
So this one is also Portrait 160 at 160. And this was in Birmingham. And my thing with when it comes to my boudoir sessions, and I don't really like using the word boudoir anymore, um, just because as soon as you say the word, people have like those
Lace.
instant images. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's it already has a stigma behind, like the word has a stigma before you can try to correct it. So it's just kind of stuck. It's stuck in the 90s. It's stuck in the 80s and 90s, that word,
Yeah.
with what people perceive as boudoir.
It might be changing a
And
little bit, but yeah, I can see
a
what you're
little
saying.
bit.
We're in
But
Alabama,
yeah,
so we got another
yeah,
5, 10 years.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Um, it's still very taboo here. And, my I eventually just started calling them sessions because they're therapeutic sessions, is they're photographic therapeutic sessions, essentially is what they amount to. And so for this shoot, we had talked a little bit. She's an artist, based out of Huntsville, and I can't really remember how she found me. It may have been through Instagram. And we started talking, and it was starting off to just be sort of, let's just be artists together and create art, and let's just do that. And it ended up being something more. And this photo shoot was really another turning point in my career for doing boudoir sessions, and focusing more on the therapy side of it, and really creating something that they feel as a person who's being photographed and the viewer as well. Um, and so she came to me. We met at the hotel and we were talking, and she was on the verge of tears. And then she explained everything that had happened within like 2 weeks, and why she'd kind of been quiet up until the shoot. And she and her now ex-husband were going through a rough patch. She tried to commit suicide by overdosing in the shower, um, and was hospitalized for a week. and he never showed up to show any kind of support, and to check to see if she's okay. So that just made even things even worse for that situation. And then that week of after that week, then it was like the week of our shoot, but she hadn't told me any of this. Then she gets pneumonia that week,
Man,
but she still shows up to the photo shoot, and she tells me that she's guys like, but it's okay. It's not like I'm not contagious anymore with pneumonia. I was like, okay. um, and that was when like she had this breakdown, of not outside of her her shrink, her psychologist that she'd go see, her therapist. She had never really told anybody any of that. Um, and then that's when I had to find that connecting. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I can have empathy for what you're going through, and then discussing with her, like, I know what it's like when I was your age, not being married, but like going through the suicidal thoughts and attempting and everything, because I've been there. I've had those same thoughts when I was your age, and here's what I kind of did, whatever. And it may work for you, may not. I just end up trying to laugh at it, and eventually that backfired years later, but on me, not on them. But so. And the shoot became something more.
So
after that,
you're kind
point,
of
after we
combining
talked.
what you went to school for, like what you went to school
Yeah.
for as far as psychology, sociology, or
Hmm.
and then now photography. So you're kind of combining
Everything.
the
Yeah.
two things together, which is a really
Yeah.
unique perspective.
Yeah. And so for this, she was really good with her hands. That sounds really weird.
What kind of time?
We have a question.
What kind of time does he dedicate, as well as like film? Like, how does he prepare for a shoot like this? Like, how much like film does he have? How much time does he?
Can you hear that, or do you want to repeat it? How much time do you have to
How much
how much time do you dedicate to the shoot? How much film do you
time
have
and
prepared?
I have too much
Too
film.
much film. Okay.
Too much film. I always over prepare on the film side. When it comes to shoots like this, and beyond, the more somebody tells me, I really try to stay in contact with them at least 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks to really think about what it is, because I'll take your story that you've told me. Like, I always do a pre-consultation, and we talk about why you want to do a boudoir session, um, and then take what you've given me. And I like doing in person because I can see how they hold themselves without a camera in front of them. So there's that preparation. So I'm taking mental notes of how does this person like just hold their hands naturally without a camera, and then use that. So I can use that to make it feel more natural. Um, and then I will use music. I'll find music and paintings or sculptures and something that really kind of gravitates towards who they are that I feel would work, and then end up playing that music or showing them the paintings or the sculptures that I've kind of pulled from. Um, and they're like, okay, cool. So it's like, I try not to let other photographers' work influence the shoot, because it just feels like it's a copy of what's already been done in the photography world. So I want to try to make that leap between paintings and sculptures into photography.
Yeah, I hear you. Is this with the FM3? Is this with the Nikon?
This is actually with the 645.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's sharp. If you were going to tell me this was the Nikon, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to get that camera.
And so no, that was with the that was with the 645. And I always concentrate on the sensuality of an image, I don't know, of a session, because it is very important, and touch is such a huge thing. So how do you create a sensual image that people can feel? And the easiest is just by like the gentleness of how her hand is touching her neck and touching her lips. Like, everybody kind of knows what that feels like in that kind of a moment, in that sensual kind of moment.
Yeah, That's awesome. That's a really cool shot. And it's cool that it's like therapeutic for her. And
Yeah.
all right, what's this shot on?
Uh, this is the C330
Okay.
with that 82.8.
Well, you nailed the focus. It's super sharp.
Dude,
Let it kind of render.
when I got that light right there. Oh,
It's not rendering right. I don't know. Maybe it's just the set. There it is. That's pretty sharp, man.
there you go.
And the colors.
Dude, I know. That's why I got printed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We printed that one.
Yeah. So this was 16-year-old Provia 100. It's expired E6.
Nice. So don't be scared of the expiration dates.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And I mean, it was just stored at room temperature. It wasn't stored properly at all. Everything that I've shot, sorry, Kodak, but everything that I've shot that is from Fuji that's 16 years old looks really good.
Try that with a 16-year-old digital camera. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. That's what I was so impressed by. Like, this was the first roll that I ever shot of that film, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this E6 business is jumping. Like, let's do this. And I shot the rest of it. Like, I don't have any more of it, but and everything is meters. Because I mean, it's E6. You don't want to overexpose it. So
Yeah, definitely not. So earlier you said you meter for the highlights. So you're just trying to make sure the highlights aren't blown out, which I mean normally it's like
pretty much
meter for the shadows and the highlights are going to compress, but your images are darker, so I can see that too. As long as you know where they're going to be.
Also, I used to have I used the phone app.
Oh right, okay.
Like early on, and so like the phone app is like half a stop off from like an actual light meter.
I've never noticed that.
So everything was already coming in contrasty.
Oh, I gotcha.
So I just kind of stuck with it.
Gotcha. Hey, whatever works for you. That's the
happened.
thing. Is like most people say.
Yeah.
How
exactly.
do you meter, or what do you recommend? It's like, well, you kind of have to kind of go down that road. We can tell you some tips and tricks and stuff, but you kind of need to go down that road and figure it out. And then you'll figure it out. And whether you're off consistently or on consistently or overexposed consistently, you can fix it. Just be consistent with your metering so that you have time to figure out like where it's all going to go. All right, here's another one.
Yeah.
Is that
another one?
C330?
Right, I guess we're entering into the. Yeah, that's C330. Yeah, as much as I don't use it, I use it a lot. This is Daisy. She is a professional ballet dancer here in Montgomery. This was a Steve Madden shoot.
Oh, nice.
Like the shoes.
Yeah.
Steve Madden.
Yeah.
So she had some. Yeah. And we just were like, hey, and this is on Fomapan. 400. Dude, I've got all kinds of crazy film now. But yeah, and so I jumped from, there was a time spell where, especially with the pandemic, boudoir sessions just ended.
Right.
Essentially.
Well, everything. A lot of stuff ended. Yeah.
And yeah, everything ended. And, some people found ways to still make money doing photo shoots virtually, which to me, I don't really care for, didn't care for at the time either. And so that kind of like really hit me. It's like, it felt very disingenuous to do a photo shoot via an iPad or cell phone or, laptop, and you just take a screenshot of it and then that's your session. Like, it just felt like there was a big disconnect. And so that kind of really threw me in for a kink. Like, do I really I just felt like a bad photographer because I wasn't jumping on to that trend as well. I'm like, well, yeah, like this would be a way, but like, it's so dumb. Like, is this where we've come as photographers of this genre, is doing this? And so, at that time, I was like, everything was just sort of spiraling as far as photography goes, and I didn't want to continue. So a lot of the dancers for the company, we just would get together and do photo shoots. And so Daisy's like, well, I've got these spike shoes from Steve Madden. Let's just go shoot. And so that's just kind of how it happened. Just to kind of do something, create something for the sake of it, just to kind of get out of the house and whatever. And so, it's refinding that connection with the camera. So that's that.
I hear you. I love this one. This is really cool.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, the skin
This
tone.
one's got a pretty dark story.
The skin tones are like epic, and the lighting is just perfect. Yeah, that's incredible. The tones are really, really great. Yeah,
The tones. It's the tones, bro.
man.
It's the tones. I've worked with her multiple times in the past, and every time that we've gotten together, I mean, it's just magic every time. Like we are in perfect syncopation. And so she had left modeling behind when she went to California. Some really bad things happened to her out in California, and came back home and didn't want to photograph ever again, just because of her experience with being raped and everything. And so she explained all this to me, and it was a pretty tough evening and day to hear that someone that I truly care about, that this has happened to them. And so because of how we work well together, that's why she wanted to do a shoot with me first, because she knew that I would take care of images to make something that reverberates with her, that she can look back on. And so it's beyond just, it's a naked girl with some bones on her pelvis and a deer head. And there's more symbolism behind it, about the stabbing of the antlers around her stomach, and just that more sensitive sexual area. It's a representation of being raped. Like it's that pain that you constantly feel after something traumatic like that has happened to you, and just feeling that death inside. So there's a lot of symbolism that goes into the shoots as well. Like, yeah, sure, one person can look at it like, oh, it's just another naked girl with bones, but there's more depth to it. There's more of a story to it, on top of it just being a gorgeous piece of work. Because I love art, and it's a new type of art form for me. So, everything worked out well for that day.
Yeah, I just love outside of the symbolism of what she went through and what you're trying to capture with her, I just love seeing really great, accurate skin tones with different colors. Like in her hands, there's like some blues and magentas and purples. It's, I don't know, it's like cold. It's like her hand's kind of cold, but then and you can kind of see it on her leg too, that like there was some chill bumps going on, but also just how warm the photo is and how rich the color is. It's like, it's just high five for film, I don't know if it's not a digital comparison. I'm just saying, I don't know if you could get that with digital, like with that much depth to it and color. I mean, somebody would definitely argue but
without editing, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, he probably could get close, but like,
for sure.
That's the point. It doesn't matter. You nailed this, and it probably came out of scanner pretty daggum close to this. So, because you're colorblind. That's another thing.
I can't color.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just to trust. Yeah, good.
You're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear us? Oh, we lost them. Technical difficulties. Can you hear me okay? You're frozen. Now he's gone. Uh-oh. We'll get it figured out. Thomas!
Here we are. What?
You're still frozen on my screen. I can hear you coming in and out, but it's still kind of frozen. What do we do?
Oh no.
I can take this opportunity to talk about the photo contest we're doing with Ryan Muirhead is judging it. It's with Wandered. You can go to our Instagram account and see the how to enter and how to win. And we're giving away some gift certificates to the lab. Kodak's giving away some film cases. Wander's giving away some bags. It's just a really cool contest that Ryan Muirhead is judging. So I think it's like first, second, third place. Are you back, man? Do you got you?
Wow.
Okay.
I think so.
Back.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here.
Well, it was a good opportunity to jump to a commercial break and talk about that.
We're in the same building.
I know. I'm wired in, man. I don't know. All right, let's jump to this image right here.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. So this is Anna. She was also a professional ballerina here locally as well. And she doesn't dance here anymore. She's back in North Carolina, and she is pursuing modeling now. So there's that. And, this was sort of the start of, the pandemic really, really hit me harder than I thought. And this was, someone who came into my life that at like the right time, it felt like, to really bring out that creative side again. Because we had such similarities in the way we viewed art. And so I was like, all right, let's do this shoot. I've got this location and I'm going to get a blue backdrop. And because you have red hair and green eyes, and we're going to go to this location and we're going to do this shoot. And originally it was not going to be this crown shoot. It was just a random, I like this green dress that's on you, and let's go shoot that. And so she brought some other stuff, and then she brought this crown as well with this outfit. And we ended up shooting more of this, just because it all just had a better flow. And that was a turning point from the pandemic and getting back into photography and really hearkening into my creative side once again. So this backdrop is actually 2 pieces of canvas that you can buy from Michael's, and I just clamped them together and painted it, and that's it.
I didn't realize you had painted that.
Oh yeah, I painted that and just stuck 2 canvas together.
Is that strobe or natural light?
Natural light.
It looks like a strobe, man.
Dude, it's just me, bro.
Oh, is that you? Okay.
Just good at my job.
How big of a light source is that? That's huge. I mean, it's like very. What's that? How big is the sun? No, like
how big is the sun?
Someone said, "How big is the sun?" He probably knows. No, like how big of a window or.
It's probably
Thanks,
about a 9
Sullivan.
foot.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's probably a 9-foot window facing the east.
Yeah, it looks very strobe, and it's like the lighting is pretty amazing, and the colors are great. And I remember printing this one, and yeah, I love how it turned out. It's really great.
Yeah, you can put it on a candle or something. Like on the Catholic candles. Yeah. Do that.
Love it. I remember this one too. I love this shot. I think it's so cool. The shadows and how stark.
This one, this is HP5 with I don't remember what camera that was.
You
I
don't
don't
remember
think
what
it
camera
was the
this was?
RZ. I think that was 35. That is 35.
That's crazy. It's
Yes, that was
35.
HP. Yeah, that's HP 535 shot at 400, pushed twice.
Let's pixel peep in here for a second. It's so
Yeah, you
awesome.
pixel peep.
Look how much detail is in. I mean, my screen's kind of dirty, but like just looking at, it's probably hard to see on your thing, but there's so much detail
No, we're good.
just in all of this. It's incredible. Yeah, I love it. The tones are epic, and just that stark contrast of black and white, just so harsh, looks amazing.
So this was the image, the photo shoot, the editorial work that sent me to London Fashion Week. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. We did it. Dude, I was so worried about this shoot because I wanted to make a good impression on this designer in Texas. And because there's a possibility of going to London Fashion Week. So I'm like, oh, okay, we gotta knock this out of the park. So it took everything I could to just like find the location, time of day, what they're gonna wear, how they're gonna wear it, how do I want to shoot this? Like all of it had to be like perfect. And then it wasn't perfect on the day of the shoot because I just completely had a mental block of everything that I'd already prepped for. And so we get there and I'm like, okay, well, let's just do this and this and this. Okay, let's make a story. It was, so this is Amber and she's a professional dancer here as well. And it was her and Anna that day. And I was like, okay, y'all are going to be sisters out in the frontier. That's the story. And we're just gonna y'all around and farm life. And there was a photographer, who I can't remember who he is, but he had done something similar, and he's got like the Catholic priest with like the white of his collar that did the similar thing with the black and white.
Okay.
I think John has shared it. Yeah, and it's like super contrasty, but like the whites are like white, and it's like the contrast of his the black of his suit and like his white of his collar. And so I was like, oh, I think I can do that, but let's do it with this. And I was really in the mode for Vogue. Sent it to the designer. Designer was floored by all the images. And then I get a phone call a few months later asking if I wanted to go to London Fashion Week. I was like, okay, when is it? And it was literally less than a month away. I was like, okay. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. And within 2-3 weeks, I was on a plane to London to go photograph London Fashion Week.
I bet that was a wild experience. I bet that's
Dude,
cool.
it was.
Were you like backstage or like, what, did you have access to different things or? Oh, went black again. Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so I left Wi-Fi.
You keep going now. You're good now. You're good now.
I'm gonna. Okay, that's fine. Okay. No, yeah, I was one of the few photographers that could go backstage and be in the pit at the same time. Like I just lucked out. I was like, I'm from Alabama. Like, what am I doing here? And that was definitely where I had like imposter syndrome. Was that entire trip? It's like, how did I get here? These people who are here photographing, yeah, it makes sense that they're here. What the hell am I here for? Like, how did I? No, but it's that imposter syndrome that was happening, like, sort of like that day. And this guy, he was from Germany, and he was sitting next to me in the pit. And there's like 40 people in the pit with me, and it was a first come, like, kind of seating situation. So I had to sit on the ground, like off to the corner, and he saw me with one of my Nikon FM2, and then the 645, and he was like, "You sure about that?" And then I was like, "You know what, asshole? Yeah, I am sure about this."
I thought he was going to be like, "Oh, cool, like you shoot film."
No,
Oh, he totally dissed you.
Oh, hardcore. He's like, and I'm just like, yeah, this is what I have. This is the risk I take,
You're
I
like,
guess.
I'm
Like
gonna miss every focus on all these, but
everything.
I'm here
I'm gonna
to
miss
win
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
He
and
probably
we,
had a 5D Mark III or a 1DX with like
I could have picked
7200,
Canon.
2470. Yeah.
Yeah, Canon was there with all their stuff.
Hmm.
Like they had cameras for people who were sitting in the pit to use, if we wanted, with lenses that we could use as well. And I could have rented those. Like no, because then I'm going to overshoot and it's just going to be meh.
I don't know if I've ever seen any
And
of these images. I want to see some of them. Yeah.
yeah, because I hate
Oh,
them.
okay. I still want to see them.
Everything I did, my documentary work in London was much better. Like I prefer it more. But
So let's, that's crazy you got to do that. I
yeah.
forget that I remember it. I just forget that. I remember you're like, hey, I'm doing this Fashion Week thing.
Okay.
And I thought you were just like, I'm going over there during Fashion Week. You got like all this
No.
access stuff. That's pretty cool.
Mm.
All
It's
right.
on my website. It's on my website. All that stuff.
Oh, okay. Tell us your website.
Oh, really? It's not in the like caption thing?
I don't know. Probably not. Might be.
Oh, that sucks.
It could be. It could be
Okay.
in the description below.
Click on the link down below.
Is it bamabear.com?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Nice.
Have you heard of it?
Tell,
Have you heard? Yeah, we got to get to that story of how I became
I-
Bama Bear.
Yeah, how do you become Bama Bear?
Okay. This was 12 years ago.
Oh Lord, here we go down this journey.
Down this journey. Um, you still haven't asked me why film too, so there's also
Oh,
that.
we'll get to that.
Okay, good, great. We're gonna get to that. So when I was working for AmeriCorps, we were stationed in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and we were out in the woods, cutting down, getting rid of like invasive species of plants and clearing out one of the Boy Scout trails that was there that had got damaged by a tornado. And so as we're walking through the trails, I start pointing out to like different berries and different like plants that you can eat. Like if you're low on vitamin A, just eat this plant. If you need glue, cut this vine. If you need water, cut this vine. And like just naming all the stuff. And my team at the time was like, oh, you're like a bear in the woods. I was like, yeah. And everybody there called me Bama because I'm from Alabama.
Right.
And then they just started calling me Bama Bear from that point on. And that was it. They just called me Bama Bear. It was just a bear in the woods from Alabama. And that was it.
Well,
It's the lamest story, but that's it.
It stuck. It stuck because folks like
Unfortunately,
around town, like I'm
wish
like
it-
Thomas. I work with Thomas, and they're like Bama Bear, Bama Berries.
yeah, Bama Berries, yeah. Or some people
love
say Bama Bear. I'm
Bama
like, okay,
Bear.
Bama Bear. Yeah.
Looking at this image that we're about to see, tell us why film versus digital for everything that you're doing now. Because you started with digital, obviously, with your HP that you got published with, and then your Nikon. The transition, like I know working here, probably. I mean, it's no secret when you work at a lab with all you see is film. You're gonna want to shoot film. I mean, the reason why we have people that work here is because during the interview process, if you're like, I love film, of course you're gonna respect the work that you're doing. But why do you shoot film? I mean, it's obvious for a lot of us why we shoot film, but everyone has their different take on it. So what's your take on it?
Well, I don't think anybody has said this ever before, but it really slows me down.
I was like, I can't wait to hear what you're gonna say.
It really slows me down, bro.
I gotcha.
No, that's the stupidest reason. It still is. This is so stupid. A lot of things slow you down. Aunt Karen slows you down at a wedding. Like, geez, everything. No, it's there's just something when I still do shoot digital as a backup, or like if I really want to give them something to show like that day.
Right.
Mostly at weddings is where I shoot digital. And so for me, it's a confidence thing. It's all psychologically based of why film for me. And it's when I'm in a session, if they can't see what I'm looking at, and all they can read is my level of enthusiasm after taking the picture of like, oh, that's it. Like they see how amped up I am about this angle, this light. Like they see that versus me walking up to them and showing them a 3-inch little screen of look at what I just took.
Yeah.
It pulls you out of the moment. Like film keeps you more attached within every moment that's you're witnessing. Because you're not focused on looking down to be sure that that image came out with the correct exposure. You're not quickly looking at the histogram or whatever, like, oh, okay, I need to bump these highlights down or I need to adjust this. It's with film, you meter once and then you take the shot and you just kind of go and you don't have to worry about it. For me, when I don't have that distraction of a screen, I'm more in tune with like, I know how this is going to look because of the film stock that I chose. So like certain people are like, okay, I'm going to choose this film stock because of your skin tone. And I know how it's going to work versus I'm going to shoot digital and try to get it there. But like, there's just too much like busyness for me as digital. Right. And I can't see the image. With film, I can see the image before I've even taken it because I just know what the film's going to do when I shoot it this way. But yeah, and like I said, it builds a confidence in yourself that you got the shot, and it builds confidence in the client that you're photographing that you got the shot and that you made them look awesome.
Yeah, because, you know, with digital now, like everyone's seen their self in some form of digital. It's their iPhone or just a high-end digital camera. What I've noticed is not a lot of people around here have seen their self on a 6.7 negative like this image right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not a lot of, I mean, when I shoot film for people, when I get it back and I show them, they're like, why does this look the way it does? Why does this look so, you know, cinematic, or why does this have this vibe to it? And I just can't, for me, I can't sit down and scroll through 1,000 presets to get something that looks close to that. It's just not, you know, there's certain places where digital works and it's fine. But if I want something this dramatic or this amazing, I want to shoot film for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot film because I know how it's going to react with the shadows. I know what kind of contrast I'm going to get out of it. And with film, I think there's also this physical presence of light bouncing off of that subject and hitting something else that's physical inside that camera and leaving a dent.
Yeah, pretty much.
A record, like a record player, or like a vinyl. Like, you know, it's doing essentially the same thing. You're capturing this light in that one split moment, and that's it. Like, there's something about that versus a bunch of ones and zeros registering what the light says it's doing.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. And having something that's tangible as well is a big thing for me, whether that be prints or giving back the negatives. When it comes to weddings, after their 1-year anniversary, I give them all their negatives. I don't want them. They don't matter to me anymore. Like, they can have them and they can look at them underneath a light box or something like, or underneath the lamp and see like all of their film. And they have that. That's another little token to history for them that they can always go back to.
Right. Once when the zombie apocalypse happens and there's no digital and all power's out, they can like look through a light and see their wedding photos.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Let's just zoom through a couple of these real quick.
See out of the mistake.
What's that?
So the other one was actually that other one.
This one?
The one before this one? Yeah. So that's also Provia 100. Expired 16 years.
You and your Provia. That explains
Dude,
why the highlights
it's magical.
Or the windows are gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't affect the
And
images.
that's the thing. No, that's the thing with like with E6. Like, you have to choose what you want to blow. And I was like, well, I'm gonna blow these highlights, but I'm gonna keep her like crisp.
That takes a second to process because I'm on an old laptop. But there we go. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Provia. Go get you some expired Provia and shoot like Thomas.
Yeah.
No, this is
So
definitely this is not E6.
yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah.
This is Portra 160. Yeah,
Well,
Portra 160.
RZ. What did you shoot this with?
Yeah, RZ.
So why the RZ over some of your other cameras? Because
Because I never miss focus.
yeah, let's talk about that because the RZ is such a huge camera and it can hurt your wrist. I mean, I've hurt my wrist shooting it. But what I've noticed is I rarely miss focus with that camera because of how big and bright the viewfinder is. Hold that bad boy up again. I mean, look. I mean, holding this thing is so awkward and
It's as big as my head.
everything's reversed when you're looking through there.
Yeah.
So looking through the ground glass. I mean, they make a that make a prism, but the thing is huge, and I rarely miss focus with that. It is pretty amazing. 'Cause it's all manual focus.
Yeah.
But for you, that's the main reason, or what else does 6.7 do for you?
Well,
And it slows you down.
the way that the camera reads, yeah, it slows me down like super slow. The way that the lens just reads color, man. Like, I don't know. I can shoot 160 35 and it just won't look like this. It'll get close, but like there's something about the tones that the RZ just gives me every time that I don't like on 120 that just kill it. And with my 160, so all of my 160 I shoot at 320. And then all my 400 I shoot at 320. Like I just meter everything at 320. That's it.
Okay.
And so that's where like a lot of those tones come from. But yeah, the RZ, I don't know, the way that it manages colors with that lens, because the lens changes how the film can look.
Yeah,
it could be
the
warmer.
2.8 on 6.7 is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And so she's interesting. So she used to also be a dancer.
Look at you and your dancers.
Dude, it's a Degas effect. It's the Degas syndrome. Obsessed with dancers. She used to be here in Montgomery, but not dancing for the professional company here. And then she moved. She actually became a stripper, and then just kind of traveled around and just living like a holistic life. But like when we photographed, it was one of those times where she was in a dark place. She didn't know what she wanted out of life, that kind of thing. And sure, she's making good money, but at what cost? And so she's didn't really ever feel confident in her own skin. And so we did a shoot, and it's just like it kind of threw me for a loop when someone who has to show off their body in order to make money is not like secure about their body.
Right.
Like she doesn't like certain things. And so when we did the shoot and I gave her back the images, she's got a print of this hanging in her house. It represented a time where she was in a place, but she's thankful for the shoot. It kind of put a timestamp of where she was, where she is now, place through. And so she wants to do another shoot that's a little more like ethereal, I guess, like out in the wilderness with waterfalls and stuff. But this was another one of those kind of pinnacle shoots where we were both just super creative in the mindset at the time, and everything we did just click, click, click. And there's not a single bad image from this entire shoot. And to hear her reaction, because she called me about it and told me like she was kind of crying about just how amazing, she never thought that anyone looked at her the way that I looked at her, the way I photographed her. And so it kind of gave her a different perspective on how she can be viewed.
Right. It's like from an art perspective and like creative process, and not just to give her money. You should take her up to Martha's Falls up in DeSoto State Park. Like that, I'll have to show you some photos, and this is but it is one of the most beautiful places waterfall, like shallow water you can walk in, bunch of rocks. I think y'all would kill it. Um, let's look at a few more of these. This is the last one, actually. The tones in this are incredible. I love the floor color, and I love it against the brownish red hair. Also, again, killer skin tones. Walk us through film and camera on this one.
This was the first roll that I ever pushed. It was Portra 160 at 320. This is with the Mamiya 645. And,
That looks
the
really
only
good,
reason
man.
I pushed it, thanks. I've got a print of it because you printed it. I get prints. That's the important thing. I get.
Oh yeah.
Working here, I have a lot of insight to how what doing with those roles, and I'm like, what's Ryan Muirhead doing with this Portra 160? And he's pushing it, seeing what's getting out of Portra 160. I was like, well, I'm gonna try. Oh, so that's what I did. I tried 160 at 320. I'm like, and now I'm hooked. I'll never shoot 160 at 160 ever again.
So just the pushing it gives it this extra little bit of umph to it. And I bet when you're scanning it, he probably has to bring down some of the contrast, maybe a little bit. I'm curious to see this negative. But the skin tones are pretty amazing in the color. It's not like normally when I push film, it looks like garbage, but this is amazing.
Thanks.
Well, when I push color film, it never turns out great like this.
Thanks, bro.
So congrats. Well,
Yeah.
dude, it's been awesome. Thanks for coming on here and spending an hour and a half with us and talking about your work and everything. And
yeah, man. Yeah, it's been great. Dog.
so what's in the near future for you? Shoots coming up, or what you got going on? What can people follow you on Instagram at Bama Bear?
At Bama Bear, or they can go to my website if they want to follow my website. It kind of stays updated, but the next big thing is I have a wedding in San Antonio. I have a bridal session this week. I'm super pumped about shooting at the 1616 house.
Oh, that's a great place.
Which I'm so pumped for it. France next year, my birthday, for a week. I'm looking for French people to photograph, Parisians to photograph.
Well, yeah, you guys check out.
That's what I've got.
Yeah.
That's all.
I want people to check out your work because although you do a great job on Instagram and you print a lot and you do all this, I think more people need to check you out. We've seen you go from little baby Bama Bear, little baby bear to pretty much a grizzly at what you do. That's a stupid comparison, but you know what I mean. I've seen you go from not really sure what film is.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid. Please don't ever do that again.
I'll never do it again. But we've seen you go from like a little unsure of what to do to very confident when you shoot, and it's just really good to see. So and everyone out there, like if you used our lab, Thomas has more than likely touched your film. So if you see him, or give him a shout on Instagram and just tell him thank you for handling with care. Him and Hannah, pretty much. I mean, there's nobody else who processes our film. So and you've been doing it for like damn near a decade. So thank you for your service with any field lab. Well,
yeah,
cool.
Thanks for hiring me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, hey, guys, thank you so much for spending an hour and a half with us. And I'm so glad Thomas got to come on here and share his work. It's amazing. And every time I get to print it, it's just really cool that he actually takes the time to come in and say, hey, man, print me this photo. So he really cares about what he does, and you can tell. And so I'm glad we got to do this. So anyway, we have the contest we're going. I mentioned earlier. There's a photo contest that Ryan Muirhead is going to judge, and it's with Wandered and Kodak and us. You can enter to win. There's 3 different prizes or whatever. Just go check out our Instagram for more information. Or Kodak's Instagram or Wandered Instagram. So anyway, all right. Thank you so much for watching, and long live film. See you guys later.